G'day all, it's Mark from Southern Cross Amateur Astro here, bringing you another video user guide for astrophotography tool. This time we're going to be taking a quick run around the main screen, just pointing out what's there and how to get to everything. Not going in depth into anything, they'll all get their own videos later on, so we're just going to take a quick look. Keep this nice and quick, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is the standard default setup for the APT main screen. As I said, this is going to be just a very quick run over. I won't be going into any details of anything because it will be all done in separate videos later on. But so in the default screen, your status window is on the left. That is the only thing you can really change for the layout. If you go into your settings, you can move it so it's across the bottom rather than up the side. I'll show you that one very shortly. But that's your status window there, which is just a basic summary of everything that's going on, what your camera's up to. At the moment it's not connected on that one. This is just an image, so it doesn't really matter. What your power and everything and all that, your dithering and your filters, etc, etc. That's all in there, and I'll explain that fully in another video. I'm going to switch over to another to another image that was taken on my computer, which will show you the different layout. And that's it there. So as you can see, you've got the status bar is instead down the bottom. On the right here is what your camera and mount are up to, and the stats that we're showing on the other side over there are all here as well. So now I'm going to start working across the top. Of course, first up you've got your APT version number, so you see I'm running 4.60. It tells you which profile you're running. I do suggest having separate profiles if you're running different gear. So I've got my EQ6 with a sharp star, and then you can also set in your location settings for APT. You can get it to tell you what location you're at in your up here. So this one I'm using that profile and I'm at home, obviously. So that's what's there. As you move across the top, now depending on what sort of temperature sensor you've got or environmental sensor you've got, will depend on what's seen here. If you're just using a normal focuser sensor with just a temperature, it'll just give you a temperature reading up there. In my case, I've got an external sensor which gives me the temperature, humidity and dew point, so that shows up there as well. Then you've got the current date and time, pretty easy to understand. Then you've got three little buttons. The first one is speaker, and that just turns your sounds on and off. I will turn on and off the tool tab, so when you hover over something you will get the pop-up for it. I might quickly show you that in a minute. And the question mark will open the APT user guide that is installed with APT. Then of course your three normal Windows buttons here for minimize, maximize and close. Next line you have is your live view or image preview. That's just telling you what's in this screen, and if you're doing an image preview, it'll tell you what you've got your preview set at. This one's to fit, so it'll fit on the screen. It'll say 1:1 or whatever, depending on what settings you have in your camera tab for the preview to fit, or if you've double clicked on the image itself. One little thing to take note of up here is this little white square that goes on and off with each subsequent image. So it's one way to tell A, your camera's actually working and taking images, and B, when an image changes. So one image it'll be on, the next image it'll be off, on, off, and that's just how it's just going to keep doing that the whole time. Then you have your live view button to start live view, whether that's a live view through a CCD or CMOS camera or a live view from a DSLR. If you're using a DSLR, you can use the zoom buttons. On a Canon one, it just uses the default live view zooms on the camera. So a Canon one, you have 5 times and 10 times zoom, which can come in handy if you're trying to focus, and you can zoom in and out on that. The next one is your crosshairs. You can bring up crosshairs on the screen to center things or whatever, depending on how you want to do it. Or if you select a target from the object browser, it will set up a circle showing you the size of that target on your screen, and you can turn them on and off through there. then your shoot button, and what this does, depending on what your settings are down here, it will take a single image at those settings. Following that, you have your various tabs for your summary, camera gear, tools and imaging. I'll quickly run through them later. And finally, down the bottom we have your log window. It doesn't record everything in your log, but it does record pertinent stuff that you might need to know. What images are doing, what it's doing, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the background which won't show up there. Then you have a Datacraft buttons, which brings up the Datacraft window to enable you to do configurations of your Datacraft and transfer data, etc. A USB monitor, which is a handy device if you're having issues with things you have connected via USB. It tells you what's connected, what's connecting, disconnecting and whatever. And finally on this one is your APT settings button. So I'm going to actually switch here at the moment. I have my system running at the moment. I'm taking darks, it's raining outside, so I can't go out and get the images. So I'll quickly jump over, and this is a live version. As I said, everything's the same that what you see here. As you can see, you've got things scrolling here, what your camera's doing here, etc. As I said, Datacraft, USB monitor and your various tabs. As I said, this is just a very quick overview, but that's what everything is on the main screen. As I said, one thing I'd turn off is the tooltips, because when you go over something, it really doesn't matter what you go over, it will do a pop-up. So it gets quite annoying once you've been using APT for a while. But that's it. That's the main screen. That's where everything is. Basically everything else I'm going to go through in other videos in a lot more detail, but it was just to give a quick overview. So I'm going to finish this one here. Wish us all clear skies, and I'll chat to you in the next video. Take care all.